The views and opinions of the host and resource persons do not represent those of the organization and the university and its stakeholders. Okay. Good day, I'm John Anthony Murillo.
And I'm Nathaniel Portez, and we are your host for today's podcast, Take It From a Senior.
So Chano, what is the theme of the podcast nga pala ulit? And bakit nga ba take it from a senior?
Well, based on the title of our podcast, we're going to be talking to a few of our seniors and asking them questions that we've gathered from our fellow freshmen.
Tama. As freshmen ourselves, we've also had our fair share of hardships, troubles, and a lot of difficulties with college. Lalo na most of us have had a difficult time adjusting to college life.
Yeah, and what better way to get advice than asking directly from the people who've already gone through their freshman years, our seniors?
So, before we begin, let's have our three guests introduce themselves so we can get to know them a little bit better. First up, we have Ricson.
Hey everyone, Ricson here. So I was on 118 IT. So I just finished college last December. Although not officially graduated yet kasi pa yung ceremony.
Up next, we have Sam.
Hello everybody, I'm Sam, ID 120. Ako'y computer science major in software tech. Currently third year ako and so far on time pa naman.
And last but not the least, we have Shua.
Hello, my name is Shua, ID 119, currently fourth year of computer science, major in software technology, and currently dying with thesis.
Wow. Sobrang stacked ng ating guest list for today. Now that they've introduced themselves, let's go straight into the first question. What was the hardest subject that you have encountered? Let's start with Sam.
Hardest subject I've encountered. I know madami kayo makaka-relate dito. Pero nung pumasok kasi akong computer science, akala ko gagawa lang tayo ng mga program, ganyan, di ba? Malay ko bang may mga algorithm course tapos magmamath ka doon tapos magpo-program tapos kailangan maganda yung pagka-program mo kasi kailangan mabilis yung program. Hindi ko sinagot yung tanong. Pero the hardest subject I've encountered is STLCM. I think you'll take it sa second year nyo. And na-take nyo na ba yun? Hindi pa?
No.
Hindi pa? Prepare yourselves.
No.
Okay.
Grabe yun. Wala kaming MP. That's one thing. However, kada topic, meron kaming quote-unquote parang quote-unquote
Like a quiz or something like
hindi
that?
siya quiz eh. Parang assignment. Assignment yung classification niya pero hands-on exercise. But boy, parang MP.
Like every activity nyo, like just another MP. Oh my God.
Dude, as in, ang bigat. I mean, puro Google ako doon. Gamit na gamit ko yung Google. Nahalungkat ko buong Stack Overflow during that time. And ewan ko kung kasalanan ko na yon pero I'd spend like 10-12 hours per hands-on. Tapos yun, parang once every module. Ayoko na balikan yun. Sige, thank you. Tapos may exams kami. Essay din, men. Explain mo bakit ganun mag-run yung program. Tapos, heist.
Really? Like essay? So you don't have, hindi ka mag-explain or like just using your voice, like explain mo to your teacher. Kailangan talaga essay?
Oh, essay. Syempre merong math, bibilangin mo yung time complexity and stuff. Tapos meron ding essay na, explain mo how it worked, paano mo dapat siya mangyari, or basta yun, tandaan.
Buti na lang may ChatGPT sa panahon na.
Oo nga, actually.
Well, thank you for that. Definitely not excited for that. Pero let's move on to our next. How about Ricson?
Siguro for me in IT, Nothing in particulars, pero siguro doon na sa lowest. So, this is ITCMS 1. So, I'm not sure if same pa rin yung lesson kasi sometimes they change the topic per batch. During our batch, yung lesson doon is Introduction to Operating Systems. So, context lang. It is the only subject na meron akong grade na 2. Yung pinaka tumatak sa akin, oh my subject. But, what is it hard kasi? Literally, you're being asked to like compute the operating speed, writing and reading ng mga operating systems, ng mga RAM, ng processor and stuff like that. But it's super technical. Hindi ko naman siya nagagamit ngayon. But yeah, ayun yung parang tumatak na hardest sa akin. Aside, I mean, marami kasing like, in general, mahirap na may mga programming subject. Yung tumatak sa akin kasi sobrang technical na to the point na kinocompute namin yung operating speed ng computer.
Ooh. Does this have yung prerequisite ng CCI comp?
I don't remember na eh. Pero prerequisite ng ITCMS Y2. So, basta operating systems yung topic namin. Minsan kasi iniibig pa siya depende sa prof.
So it depends on the prof.
Parang never ko naman yung matatake based sa syllabus natin. Buti naman. Okay.
And for our
last but not the least, we have Shua.
Ayun. So actually, before I say my answer, I actually vouch for what he said. Kasi our prof, he was really into games and competitions. So yung sa amin, it's like every week, alam niyo yung professional coding, like online, where there's going to be like different levels and then you earn points that way. So like every week, there's something like that. And then sa exam, there's like a boss level of that. So parang, it was so hard to the point na there was an impossible level where if you got that, it's plus 100 points. You can get 200 in total. The smartest person in our batch, no name dropping, he had to ask from people that are upper batchmen, which are people who are already graduated, or people outside in the professional field now for help. Because if he can't understand that, imagine kami pa. Like, how are we going to answer that question?
Wait, so even yung smartest person sa class nyo,
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Even he can't, he was our valedictorian nung senior high. And then he's kinda considered as the smartest guy then in CCS, honestly. I think you guys might have an idea. Maybe not. But yeah. It was that hard. But,
What year?
What year? CS. Wait, what do you mean? Yung...
what semester did you guys take this subject?
I think similar lang din naman with Sam, which was like second year. Yeah.
Okay.
So, excited for you guys to get that. But yung... but I guess yung sa akin, I would say, I think Sam is actually taking it right now, is ST AdvaDB. And I think he can vouch. Tumama agad do. I think he can vouch. It's just so painfully hard because the subject before this one is CC Infom. And then there, it's going to be databases. You're just writing like SQL and we're like, okay, this kind of seems fun. It's okay. It's not that bad. Even though some teachers aren't that good, but it's not that bad.
I can admit to offer that laugh.
Yeah, and then in ST AdvaDB, from that, you just like skip a whole different level. And then in this course, teachers, since you take this like third year, teachers don't really help you anymore. It's purely self-study. If you take 8 hours to do a homework, they'll just give you clues and won't even give you an answer near to the output. Tapos, the worst part is there's no YouTube videos for these specific things. Nothing at all. Yeah,
True.
There's no...
Kahit like from the gurus ng YouTube,
yeah,
yung mga... Really?
Wala at all. Like, everybody just... Only the people, kumakapit na lang yung mga normies to like the honors to please.
Norm.
Sorry.
Sorry. Normally din naman ako, but like, please, give out some hints. Like,
Ano?
oh my god.
Context lang din. Kakatapos lang namin ng isang homework sa advanced databases. Homework to, hindi nga to MPO project. Umabot kami ng 33 pages yung Word document namin.
Just for a home.
It's a homework, man. It's a homework. Tapos may Excel file din kami kasi mag-SQL kayo. Tapos may Excel file din kami. Yung Excel file namin, hindi na siya na-open sa online na Excel kasi masyado na malaki yung file size. So 100 plus MB na siya. So you have to download Excel talaga.
And keep in mind, homework lang to.
Yeah, it's a homework.
How much time was given to you for this?
A week, pero knowing us students, we'd cram. And then kami sa group namin, we did it for like 3 days. And then yung ibang groups, ginawa na lang nila overnight. Pero majority wasn't successful. Weren't successful. Pero hirap eh.
Excited for you guys. Although I do note, mga takot lang dito is ST students. IT and IS, I think you're safe.
Oh no, me and Chano are actually ST.
Maaga pa guys. Joke.
Oh no, I'm definitely not excited for this.
Pwede pa tayong mag-shift.
Meron pa naman, pero stay strong. Kaya ginagawa natin itong podcast, Okay, so I think that really answered our first question. So what a great start, no? Okay, so for our second question, how did you know that the CCS program you chose was for you? Okay. Let's start with so Ricson, let's start with Ricson. Yeah.
I didn't. It's what my parents wanted me to take, but then again, I really didn't have any course in mind back then. I just know that I like technology and I want to earn money. It's, of course, along the way, I realized that it is the perfect course for me. Kaya, sobrang hobby ko talaga yung learning new stuff, technology, something cool na pwedeng makatulong ng daily life natin. So, ayun. Hindi ko siya nakilala before using it. I mean, we have no choice kasi nandito naman tayo lahat. But talaga, before college, i-research ayos ng course. Looking at it now, ang okay naman for me kasi lalo ngayon na nag-work na ako. Hindi ko makikita na nagbunga talaga yung college ko. The things that I've learned in college are really actually now.
So, I can relate to that naman. Like, napili mo yung program mo based really on your interest, no? Like, you didn't really have, like, a specific, course in mind. Pero, based on your interests and preferences. No?
Yeah. He loves tech.
I can relate to that. How about Shua?
For me, hindi naman sa my parents chose it for me. But my entrance for DLSU, I chose like 3 drastically different. It was like number 1 comp-sci, number 2 was like engineering, number 3 was like finance or something. And then I got into comp-sci and I was like, okay, I like problem solving naman. There's no science here because I don't really like memorizing. But then, okay, ito na guys. For the people who are in ST and IS and IT, please do take note. Take like 3 hours, 2 hours off of your time. Sacrifice. Go through your flowchart. Search what all of them are. Because honestly, as a first year ST student, I really wish that I did because I think IS or IT might be like more suited for me because ayun nga, in ST, you would have things like assembly language. In your later years, you'd have ST ADBA-DB, you'd have parallel programming, operation systems, which might be something that you won't be interested in. But ayun, I wish that na research ko prior to like being in the first year na thesis, wala na akong choice. But yeah, I think that's my say in all of this.
Ooh, Actually,
Nice.
really great advice, no?
Yeah.
Like, Chana,
Search
ikaw ba? Like, have you looked up our flowchart? Kasi I
Yeah.
haven't.
Search ko na lahat yan. Grade 11 pa lang actually ako.
Oh,
Nagsisearch na ako ng
really?
lahat ng syllabus and curriculum
Ooh.
ng universities na in-applyan ko. And like, number one nga is LaSalle. Pero naging
Yeah.
number one, kasunod ko talagang number one, pinalitan ko yun ng Ateneo dahil sa UAAP. Yun lang yun, UAAP. Pero yun, nag-BSMS ako for clout.
Eh.
Yun lang. Yun na yun. May honors lang dun sa ano. Then, feel ko, shit, ito na to. How about you ba?
Honestly, I didn't look up the flowchart. I just knew that I wanted computer science. Or kaya I chose IT at first, pero I went com sci since it's more aligned to my interests. Pero let's see how about Sam actually.
Ever since bata ako, mahilig na talaga ako mag-computer. And buti nga, at that time, since surrounded din ako, well, hindi talaga ako surrounded, pero yung pinsan ko, na taga Ilocos, so hindi nga ako surrounded. IT siya. And parang gusto ko, uy, pansaya naman yan, program, churcher. And then nagma-Minecraft din ako nun. Tapos nakikita ko yung mga
Ooh.
gumagawa ng ano, di ba? Server, wow, coding. So, at that time, alam ko, gusto ko na talaga ng CS. Pero the thing is, actually being in CS, parang it's a whole new thing eh.
Yeah.
Doon mo maki-question na, para sa akin ba talaga itong pinili ko? Nung pumasok ako na CS, doon nag-appear yung mga desires ko na mag-iba ng program. Kasi parang passion ko din talaga business management. Pero, ayun, buti na lang mahal tuition sa LaSalle kaya mahirap na mag-shift. So, tinuloy na lang natin ang CS.
Actually,
Tsaka,
true.
it's too late to turn back, to turn around now kasi may clout na din tayo, you know.
That's true.
Amen.
Masakit sa pride
Agree.
yun.
Sayang pati yung clout na STEM major ka eh.
Masakit sa pride yun.
Okay.
You know, I'm thinking about yung sinabi ni Sam. Yeah, it's a different beast if you think about it. Kasi, like, looking at CS from the outside, like, hindi mo pa tinitake. Alam mo yung, it doesn't seem that hard. Pero once you really get into it, it's hard.
Yeah, kasi yung pinoportray kasi outside is all programming, coding, wow.
Yeah.
Kasi that looks cool. Pero yung theories,
Yeah.
algorithms, man, it's a whole
Agree.
different story.
Oh, actually, on a related note, so our next question is actually very much related to our first experiences with this. So Chana, can you introduce our third question?
On a scale of 1 to 10, how hard was it being a frosh in CCS? Let's start with Shua naman.
Okay. I think I would like rate my first year maybe like 8 or 8.5 out of 10. And then ano naman, for the people who are currently quote unquote dying in the prog series, you know, the trilogy.
Yeah.
It's common naman. People always say na if you don't die in prog 1, you would die in prog 2 or prog 3. So like that is like almost a part of your CCS life. No matter you'd like it or not. Unless you're like just godly talented brain and then like, oh my god, yeah. But it's even though it was difficult, it was more of enjoyable naman to learn. Parang if it's something difficult, but then you find out na, oh, you're not actually enjoying learning these stuff. Like once you figure them out, you still don't find the satisfactory. Yun yung parang nakakatakot. But yeah, I think 8.5 is good. And ayun nga, it's very common that people really struggle in the first year because you're still going into things. Prog 1, tinuturo lang, print, pattern. Tapos bigla, whoa, meron ng iba't ibang ano. Tapos, whoa, prog 3, bigla may GUI na. Like, oh my gosh. It's very hard and it's very hard hitting. But I think as long as you guys still find enjoyment from time to time in learning, yeah.
So, yeah, from what you said, meron nga siyang learning curve. Like, CC Prog 1 is very much like just If else statements, just print F, scan Fs. Then you go into Prog 2. Now we have arrays. And
Reins.
you said in CC Prog 3, there's going to be GUIs?
Yeah.
Okay. It might depend on your professor, honestly. In our batch, it was really required for GUI. But then in Sam's batch, I think there was a prof that didn't require GUI. So it's
Yeah,
kind
may
of like,
prof na hindi GUI, pero sa amin naka-GUI din.
yeah. And then some people would just say, oh, there's bonus points if there's GUI. But honestly, learning GUI, they won't really teach you much about GUI, but learning GUI as early as Prog 3 would really help you a long way through second year, third year, and so on.
That's great advice.
I think yung GUI sa third year, yung first experience mo na hindi ituturo talaga, na kailangan mo talaga mag-Google.
Ooh. So more on self-learn siya.
Yeah.
Although merong events specifically for LCS ng GUI, these workshops, that's being requested by the prof naman.
Ooh, great plug.
Oh, well, on that note, how about you, Ricson? How would you rate yung ano mo? On a scale of 1 to 10, how hard was it being a fresh?
For me, for answering that, like how harder for you to know how hard yung first year. Depends on where you're coming from. Totally no background in programming, syempre it will be way harder. Merong mga high school na nagtuturo ng programming. Tapos depends din on your attitude. Are you someone who'll ask for help if nahihirapan ka? Or someone na sasarilihin lang? So syempre mas mahirap yung latter. And me, for the first point, unfortunately, I have no background in programming. So like literally ang alam ko lang HTML tapos copy lang sa w3school.com. Ganun. Tapos, fortunately naman, on the bright side, for my attitude, I'm someone who always asks for help if nahihirapan ako. I maximize my resources through orgs. Actually, tanda ko pa ngayon nga, while we're talking about CC Prog 3 and GUI. Sobrang hirap namin sa GUI kasi nga hindi siya tinuro sa classroom. And then, we didn't attended the workshop ng LCS. So, what we did, kasi diba by pair yung Prog 3. So, we asked the senior. So, ano siya, 1-5. Ray. Yan. Siya nag-mentor sa amin on how to GUI. Parang twice a week kami nag-set ng meetings. Ayan, nag-reserve kami ng discussion room sa Henry. So, namin nakapa talaga yung GUI. And then, after nung nagkapa na namin, hindi na kami nag-set ng meeting. Parang nag-ask na kami na help if mas na kami. Pero after that, parang weeks lang or weeks pa na namin. But, ayun. Generally, depende yung to repeat lang, depends on where you're coming from, depends on your attitude. Personally, I guess, hard my first year would be around 7.
Ooh, and there's a 7. So we're really going above the line between like 5 and 10. No? So a lot of people would really rate it in that range. How about you, Sam?
I cried twice in college. Both times was in first year. First term wasn't too hard for me kasi I took the CS50 thing sa Harvard. And
Yeah.
C yung gamit kasi doon. And then nung pumasok ako ng first term, tas C din. So, ayun, halos wala. Siguro kung may number yon 2 lang yung first term. Pero nung second term, yung may mga pointers na tapos algorithms. So, ayun, dito ata nag-start yung imposter syndrome ko.
Actually, sobrang overwhelming nung pointers for first year.
Oh,
agree.
Dapat magulo i-discuss ng prof mo.
Yeah.
Meaning, ba't nag-iiba yung value nito? Saan galing yung value nito? Medyo mataas yung learning. Taas yung learning.
Bilis na niya. Bilis na...
Ang daming lesson nung term ng Prog 2. Parang in 2 weeks, iba yung tinuturo.
Sobrang laking step forward niya from the first one.
Yeah.
Kasi like first term, di ba, tinuturo lang sa'yo, input device, wow!
Yeah.
Sunod na term mo, may discrete structures ka na, calculus, pointers, di ba?
Yeah.
Ayun. Pero overall, I think I'd rate it 7 as well.
Ooh, okay.
Okay.
So we have 2 7s and 1
8.5.
8.5. So that really just gives you perspective, no? Like it's just a really hard year. Like, just a quick question. Would you guys say na Frosh is the hardest year or one of the hardest? Or not really? Like just a yes or a no. Yeah.
No.
No? Okay.
No.
In a sense
No.
na yung sa like adjusting to college, but when it comes to the difficulty, kasi it gets harder. But
I see.
difference kasi, as you go on forward, mas sanay ka, mas smart year ka na. So parang wala na sa'yo pakigay. Minsan, mababa yung scores mo. Ganun.
Yeah. I think on
Yeah.
average, no. Because ano rin, some people like adjust faster. It really depends on how much effort or ayun nga yung sinabi ni Sam and Ricson, if you have like background ideas on
Mm.
on coding. But yeah, I'd say no because some of the subjects that all of us, all the three of us like mentioned as our hardest courses come like later on, second year, third year, and so on.
Yeah, I do think there are harder years than
Okay.
yung Frosh year. Pero, syempre, Frosh is still hard.
First is still hard.
Pero, ayun, kung nahihirapan kayo sa Frosh, as natakot kayo, may mas mahirap pa dito, don't worry, kasi at the same time, nag-i-improve ka naman eh.
That's
Agree.
true. So basically, habang humihirap, mas natututo ka rin.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's
How
move on
about
to
you,
our next
Bachan?
question. Okay, before
Ano?
we move to our next question, then.
Yeah. How about you? Ano ba?
I'm
Self-minded ka.
having, I'd say, like maybe a controversial answer. 5. Kasi I already have some background when it comes to programming, and yung pinaka-hardest part siguro is yung social aspect nga. Kasi yeah, first year like bago tayo
Yeah,
sa college
adjusting
eh.
phase.
Mm.
Same. 5 lang din siguro. Papunta na din sa 7 to 8.5.
Sana naman hindi, pero if it does, well, whatever happens, happens. The views and opinions of the host and resource persons do not represent those of the organization and the university and its stakeholders. So,
Yeah.
for our next question, how do you typically review for programming in general?
Let's start with Sam naman ngayon.
Yeah.
Right. Programming as in like coding talaga.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. I think for me, since medyo hands-on learner talaga ako, yung pinaka-effective way for me to learn is to actually do something or mga projects ganito, ganyan. Kasi parang ang hirap na papanoorin mo lang yung PowerPoint or manonood ka lang ng lecture tapos dun ka na mag-base ng programming language, programming knowledge mo. You really have to build something yourself. Kasi at this point na third year or fourth year ka na, you will encounter errors that you've encountered before. Tas na-stack overflow ko na to dati. Alam ko na paano ayusin to. Or, for example, may nag-iiba na value. I think, kasi na-encounter ko na tong error na to during my second year. By reference yung palit nito. So, i-check mo ganun. And I think one of the ways then to effectively study is doing projects outside of school na alam mong hindi mo pa natututunan paano. I remember when I was like in first year, gumawa ako ng parang YouTube thing using an API. Tapos sobrang dami ko natutunan nun about pag-integrate ng APIs or about the programming language na ginamit ko. Na when the time came na inaral na namin siya sa school, sobrang bilis ko na lang siya na-gets kasi may actual project na ako sa books ko na nagamit ko siya. So, ayun, overall, just, work on your own stuff.
Yeah, that's pretty good advice, no? Para, more on hands-on and let me guess, did you make a Discord bot ba? Or
I
no?
also did a Discord bot pero I did this like YouTube thing na nag-upload ako ng video tapos automatic na nag-change yung title niya based dun sa view count ng video.
Like Tom Scott.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, I guess you really have to do yung due diligence mo, no? So,
Yeah.
hands-on own projects kasi it's really up to you. How about you, Shua?
I think agree din ako kay Sam. Hands-on is really something that you will need to do for you in order for you to learn. Kasi lalo na kapag hindi mo pa alam. I think one tip that I think some of the people might think that it would work, if ever nahihirapan ka talaga mag-start, so like let's say you already watched all your lectures, you already read all the codes sa class, and then now you want to create your own project nga and practice, but then you really just can't do it. Try copy pasting. Honestly, copy paste like part per part from your teacher's code or something that you find online. Yeah. And then you just run it part by part, trace it, print, do everything that you might think is kind of something that you don't understand. You print that part, you show what's the output, you show what's being processed. You just trace it line by line so that you just get a better understanding of what's happening, and then like, so ito pala nangyari, kaya naging ito yung output, dumaan siya dito, ba't siya nag-error? So like things like that. It would really be helpful in hands-on learning.
Mm.
Yeah, especially for people ayun nga na parang nahirapan. Dati ginagawa ko rin yun, parang it's really useful.
So, more on ano siya, no? Dissecting yung code. So, para alam mo talaga what goes in and how it comes out like that, or yung ginagawa ng bawat line of code. Or di ba
Yeah.
bawat line? Pero like, just the blocks of code, no?
Yeah, the block of code. And then maybe if once na you went through the whole code, now you close that program or close that file, and then you try to write it on your own. And then you'd actually be surprised na, you actually remember some of the stuff, and you're trying to recall now what did you think, what was the output during this time, and then you can slowly figure out the code.
Okay. So Chana, you have any input on that?
Sobrang agree ako dyan. Since nanonood kasi ako ng mga YouTubers, and pag wala kang time, like, ano ba ang best way para matuto kang mag-program? Hindi, syempre, like, application talaga. Like, hands-on experience, hands-on learning. Like, try to code, do some small projects. Like, lagi kang may ginagawang project para hindi mo rin malimutan yung mga topics and kung paano mag-code. Yeah. So,
So basically just do your own thing talaga kasi
yeah.
it's much better if you do it at your own pace, and also if like out of your own volition, kasi parang pag mas ginagawa natin yung bagay na hindi tayo na-force, parang mas natututo tayo, right?
Yeah.
So how about you, Sam?
It's my turn.
I'm sorry. Ricson.
So,
I'm a bit,
actually,
yeah.
okay. Pero yun talaga, especially in the field of IT, of study, best way to learn is to practice. So, just like, lagi, nagamit sa akin yung term na yan when it comes to when someone's asking for tips, especially on my TikTok. But I have this learning model. So it's called the 70-20-10. 70% is experiential learning. So basically, it's the on-the-job experience. Doon ka mas matututo ka if you're actually doing the job, if you're actually coding, if you're actually doing projects, compared to yung 10%. 10% is the formal learning. So formal learning basically means is what you get in your classrooms. So doon mo na makita, ito pala yung meaning yan. Not because nag-classroom ka, enough na yan. Kasi kahit sabihin mo na nakikinig ka sa classroom, hindi mo siya matututunan ng buo if hindi mo siya in-apply. Pag-uwi, hindi ka mag-code sa VS Code, gagawa ng small projects. Kahit manonood ka na, sabi mo, I always watch YouTube tutorials, pero hindi ka naman nag-code side by side. Wala rin kasi familiar. Pero hindi mo siya ma-apply kasi nga, hindi mo alam kung paano i-code. Like, siguro, sabi mo, inig ka, nanonood ka ng pag pinag-code ka, parang sabi mo, ganito yun, tapos isa-search mo pa rin. So, hindi mo siya fully na-adapt. Kaya pag mo talaga, may embed siya sa utak mo na ganito yung step by step, ganito yung syntax, ganito yung dependencies ng mga functions. Mahalaga talaga na dapat meron kang parang practical learning, which is yung 70%.
So it's more about it's more about doing than just seeing with your own eyes.
Hindi kasi siya kagaya ng back in high school na mag-memorize ka lang. Kahit sabi mo, memorize ko yung syntax, ganito yung mga data types. But when it comes to actual coding, bakit wala yung memorization mo if hindi mo alam kung paano i-apply?
I really agree with that actually. Kasi, like you, Chano, do you do that ba? Yung sinabi ni Ricson.
Yeah. Basta, actually to be honest, minsan di na ako nakikinig. Basta alam ko lang yung topic. Then inaaral ko siya on my own pace. Then, ayun, nanonood ako ng mga tutorials. Then, yeah, doing small projects and yan, applying what I've learned sa pagpo-program. Kasi, doon mo talaga, kasi feel ko talaga like nagtatrabaho na ako. Ganun.
So, parang more on like, pwede naman maganda naman makinig, right? Pero there's a certain point na parang, there's just something you should do than just learn by seeing, no? You should do it instead of just seeing it. Pero that actually, yung sinabi mo nga, like, nag-self-study ka, right? For, minsan di ka na nakikinig. So, our next question actually ties into that, no? So, do you guys actually have any external apps or websites that you use to review programming? Okay. So, anyone would like to volunteer for this one?
I start.
Okay, sure.
Actually, back in my, bakit ako during my first year and second year, yung mga usual na gigs for gigs, Stack Overflow, YouTube, VT, that goes, don't really use external app. Wala pang masyado available. But given the technology now, I would actually leverage the rise of AI tools, such as, of course, the commonly known ChatGPT. Very hot topic recently, but actually now sa work ko, I'm using it on a daily basis. So as I learn new technologies, kasi it can easily make learning easier. Imagining learning a very complex topic, cloud computing. Easily ask it to explain it to you like you're a 5-year-old. So imagine how much time it will cut for you to understand the topic. Kahit sa mong high-level definition lang, madali mo siyang ma-absorb. So parang for me, yun talaga yung best external tools. So parang the opportunity that AI gives is limitless. As long as, syempre, responsibly, hindi naman pwedeng abusuin natin na, gawin mo to, ChatGPT. The better use of AI is to use it as a guide, to be fully reliant on it. So parang yun talaga siya.
Kasi that's the moral dilemma na meron tayo right now with AI, no? Like some people view it as easily abusable, pero it's really helpful, no?
Yeah.
It's just really easily abusable, pero at the same time, it's easily used. It's also really accessible. So, yung mga nahihirapan with just, let's say, just yung mga out of context answers from Google, like kukuha lang sila ng snippet from one website. Like, AI can actually make that into something na mas magigets mo, right? So,
everything is comprehensive.
Exactly.
I think easily abusable is pretty paano ba? You can use it on pretty much anything internet right now. For example, Google is easily abusable as well. Pero ayun, sinesecond ko yung sabi ni Ricson. Now, you can really use ChatGPT, to be honest. For example, may code ka hindi maintindihan. Please explain this code to me. And then kung hindi mo pa din maintindihan, please simplify further. So, sobrang useful niya.
Okay. Meron atang madadagdag si Shua.
Yeah.
I think I just agree lang ako kaya like yung AI chat talaga GPT is really like out there right now. My other friend, just a few days ago actually, we were in Discord and then hindi siya masaya at all. He just typed something like, please don't do this. Like, please code me a game, an adventure game, a text-based adventure game. And like just a few minutes later, like it was there now and it was ready now. Please don't do that. Please don't abuse the AI chatbot like that. But yeah, I really agree with the AI. I think it really will help But then if more traditional cases, actually there's like some websites that offer courses online, honestly. Something that was introduced to me was Solo Learn, if you guys know Solo Learn.
Sa phone,
N-
meron ako niyan.
no idea
Diba?
about that.
Ano siya,
Yeah.
Solo Learn, and then actually weird nga eh, third year na binigay sa akin ng elective prof ko. Pati yung distributed computing ko na prof. They gave this to us to like let us learn or refresh about Python core. And honestly, if they asked us to finish the whole course kasi it actually teaches you like almost all the basics of one like programming language that you would need. So there will be like websites for mobile apps, actually games for mobiles and web, backend, everything is here. And then it'll give you like a little bit of a head start to understand like all the basics. At least parang may alam ka na. And you can do this at your own time. You can do it like chapter by chapter, activity by activity. When you have free time, wala kang magawa, ganun. I know,
Para
early.
siyang,
Ay, go.
para siyang yung exorcism.org na ngayon. Parang Duolingo. Pero programming language yung inaaral. Parang ganun din yung solo learning. Pero meron siyang like mga exercises nga. So pwede kang ma-refresh nga dun about sa isang programming language. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like a really neat app na mas nare-reinforce yung learning mo. It's just not about learning and learning new stuff. Pero nakaka-reinforce din siya. I think yun talaga like one of the key aspects no nung that solo learn, no?
Yup, it is Solo Learn.
Okay.
There's also a website actually, if ever. You can also do it on your phone, like Chan said.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Sa phone lang ako. Kasi like pag bored na ako. Wow,
Yeah.
nagko-code ko bored na bored.
Wow,
Matututo ka pa
responsible.
rin.
Responsible student. Pag bored,
Sipag
nag-aaral.
pala.
Okay. So how about you, Sam? Is there anything you want to suggest to us?
Siguro if batak ka talaga tapos gusto mo ng parang more on gamified way of practicing programming. Or reviewing programming. Probably HackerRank. I think a lot of you guys know HackerRank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think no first year ako medyo grindy ako sa HackerRank. Pero ayun nga, maximize the tools that you have right now. ChatGPT.
And I think that tops it off, no? So
Yeah, for
there's a
our
lot of apps talaga and just websites in general. Lalo na ngayon na yung mga AI nga. So for our next question, I think this is more on the side of like this is more on general. This is not just specific to our course, pero a lot of people are experiencing it, no? So, Chano, go ahead sa next question natin, yung number 8.
Okay, so for our next question, how do you cope with academic burnout?
Okay, let's
Let's
start
start
with how about Shua?
Okay.
Okay. So I think for this question, it's honestly all up to you understanding yourself. Like, in order to, ayun nga, not be burnt out. Kasi of course, napaka-CCS tayo. Really like cram and like last minute clutch everything. And for some reason, a lot of us still do well. But like, understanding yourself would really be important because you would know how much effort you would need and time to put into something. So like, let's say if there's something that you think is very hard, you need to start as kahit na sobrang nakakatamad as early as like during the first few weeks where wala pa masyadong homework so ano. You really need to like start there because you know yourself na okay, you're slower at this topic and you need to put more effort and time into this. And then for tasks, sometimes, ayun nga, as I said, try to work earlier. If tinatamad talaga kayo, I think it's smart to just finish the easiest task at first. Kasi syempre tamad ka pa sa una. You finish the easiest task, and then once you finish that, you do the next one. And then as it gets harder and harder, you would be more into the groove of like having that workflow of, okay, during this time I have to work, during that time I can rest. Which leads me to my last thing. if you don't cram as much because you understand yourself, you will have more time for breaks and rest. Having breaks and rest, kahit na like 5 minutes per hour, 15 minutes, or like, honestly, it depends on you. Maybe you want to work from 8 to 8 p.m. and then 8 onwards, you just, nothing else, nothing more. That's like going back to my main point again, understanding yourself and how you really can work. Yeah.
So it's all about yung ano no, just knowing your limits.
Yeah, knowing
Kung
your
saan ka ba
limits.
talaga.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's a very important topic na I think a lot of us don't or take for granted. Like iniisip lang natin na we'll just keep on working kasi there's nothing else productive to do, or like I have to be productive otherwise ganto ganto. Just making excuses for ourselves to work. And ayun nga, breaks and rest, very important talaga. Just knowing your limits is the most important thing talaga. How about next though? Oh, you want to add something, Shu?
Okay. I just want to push the narrative of doing things overnight and not sleeping is not normal. Please don't push that narrative for it to be normal. Yun lang.
True, actually. Yeah, very true.
I agree.
It's so unhealthy. It just
I agree with that. Parang masyado kasing na-normalize na when it comes to being an IT or CS students na, we're used to
Hindi na
spending
tutulog.
the entire night to do our projects. But in reality, that just reflects your responsibility, inability to manage your priorities. Like, for context, parang, for my entire college experience, bilang lang sa daliri, once, syempre, bilang lang sa daliri, yun nag-spend the entire night ako without sleep. Minsan, parang until 1, you wake up early, and then you do it again. Kasi, every time you work na walang tulog, mas nagiging inefficient ka. So parang, sabi mo wala kang tulog until 5 a.m. But those hours from 3 a.m. to 5 a.m., not at your best self. So who knows what kind of productivity you're giving that. Instead of you up early, mas fresh ka, mas fresh yung mind mo, mas trabaho mas mabilis. So, ayun, hindi siya, although there are times na talaga ng choice, pero hindi dapat siya gawing normal na sa every week dapat isang araw ka walang tulog. So, hindi siya maganda both health-wise and sa work ethics mo. And to answer the question na rin, coping up with academic burnout. First, siguro, before answering how to cope up with academic burnout, I would advise to be, you can also be proactive and avoid burnout as much as possible. Of course, planning ahead of time, managing your priorities, and syempre dapat, be balance of being happy, go-lucky, and responsible. So, make sure na ahead of time, maplan mo dapat by Monday, ito gagawin ko sa project ito, Tuesday yung GE, Friday tapos na. Para hindi ka ma-burnout. Kasi most of the time, burnouts are a result of overworking yourself kasi hindi mo na-manage ang mga priorities mo. Not to victim blame, but most of the time, result siya ng mismanagement. Syempre, hindi naman natin iwasan na magkaroon ng burnout talaga. So just in case na magkakaroon ka ng academic burnout, firstly, just take a break. Something that you genuinely enjoy. It be sports, hanging out with friends, or anything in particular na bibigyan ka ng break from academics. Something na you really enjoy doing. So back in my first years in college, especially on face-to-face, I usually do org work. So I have of course LCS, and I also have a university-wide org, which is LaSallian Ambassador. So those kind of things yung nakalayo ng utak ko from academics. So doon nawawala yung burnout. Kahit na pagod ka pa rin at some point, but at least hindi ka pagod from academic burnout. And then after that, tsaka ka ulit taking a break is really underrated. So, sobrang, kahit sabi mong 15 minutes lang yan. Actually, ako kahit working minsan, mapafeel ko, mapaburnout ako, mapapagod ako. Like, may shift ako, hindi mo marinig yung manager ko. I usually sleep, especially working from home. I usually sleep 15 minutes, power nap. After that, sobrang feeling ko nakatulog ako ng 8 hours. Tuloy-tuloy lang yung trabaho. Instead of forcing yourself to work and be productive if your mind anymore, walang ang value na mapoproduce yung ginagawa mo. Nagkasayang ka ng oras.
I agree. Like, dadagdagan ko na lang din yung kay Ricson. Since I use Google Calendar kasi to plan the things I will do sa isang linggo. So, basically, pinaplan ko bukod dun sa mga gagawin ko. After kong i-plan at ilagay yung mga tasks na kailangan kong gawin, like sa ACAD, sa orgs, naglalagay din ako ng, like, nandun din yung time kung kailan ako magre-rest. Then nandun yung time kung kailan ako magpa-party, magiinom. Ay, joke lang po, di po ako magiinom. Pero, yeah, nakaplan din yung, like, may plan din ako para sa rest and like other recreational activities para hindi, para may, alam yan, yung may hinihintay ka na after mo magawa itong sabay, nire-rewardan mo yung sarili mo. Like, sa rest or, mag-enjoy ka.
Hindi yung patuloy-tuloy tayo. Like,
Yeah.
we're just constantly pressuring ourselves to work.
Yeah.
No? Actually, I just want to point out din yung sa sinabi ni Ricson. The thing is, sobrang true na sinabi niya sa kanina na taking rest, yun nga, is underrated. Like, alam niyo yung, like, I guess everyone can relate to this, right? Marami sa mga kaklase natin or like, just friends, sabihin natin, I only had 5 hours of sleep last night. Tapos biglang, yung isang mo friend or kakase, wala yan, ako nga 2 hours na. Like, ano pa kayo?
Flex sila.
Yeah, nagiging competitive ba kayo over something that shouldn't really be competitive? It's not healthy kasi, di ba? Like, nagiging competitive pa siya eh. I've also been guilty of that, pero again, it's really not a healthy thing to do.
That's true. Dapat yung pinagyayabang yung ano eh. Uy, mas mataas yung grade ko sa'yo, naka 8 hours of sleep ako. Ganun dapat yun.
Yeah, exactly.
Ganun dapat yun. Honestly.
Like, brag about something else though. Like, something more positive.
Diba?
And let's have our thoughts. My thoughts?
Yeah, siguro emphasize ko lang din yung sinabi ni Ricson na rest, sobrang important talaga ng rest. Like, I do think na, well, ganun talaga siya, na rest is very productive, especially when you're busy. So, minsan kasi, gusto ko yung sinasabi mo, Chano, na part talaga ng schedule mo yung rest. Kasi that's how it should be, na hindi dapat nawawala talaga yung rest sa ano natin. Kasi, we're human beings, hindi naman tayo robot, di ba? Na unlimited yung kaya nating gawin. And ako kasi normally I sleep for 7 hours. And whenever kulang yung tulog ko, like 5 hours, sobrang hindi na ako nagpa-function the following day. Yung iba normal lang nila yung 5 hours, pero I don't know, my body can't do that. So 7 talaga yung normal ko. And at the same time, when I was first year, since nag-a-adjust ako, sobrang nahawakan ko yung extreme na work. So, full right side na work lang talaga. And that was my worst performing term so far. Kasi, tinanggal ko lahat ng things that I used to love to do just to focus on school. So, one thing that I always say to the people na bago pa lang magka-college or since nakikita ko na sobrang pagod na sila is to not forget the things that you love to do. Kasi those are the things that give you energy. Those are the things na keep you going. So bakit mo tatanggalin yung things that kept you going for plenty of years just because may kailangan kang gawin na homework or may kailangan kang gawin na project? Like, sure, may times talaga na na hindi talaga siya possible na isabay. Pero at the same time, wag mong totally i-cut off from your life. Kasi kailangan mo yun eh. Leisure time is important.
Alright. Thank you, Sam. Super agree.
Ay, natatandaan kayo sinabi ni Ricson nung pumunta kami sa Amazon office. Healthy body is equal to a healthy mind and a healthy future.
Tama.
Grabe na talaga ang ating Boss Ricson ng TikTokers ng LaSallian na limitation.
advices from Ricson, the TikToker is. Grabe.
Okay. Next. Last two questions na pala tayo. For our
Ooh.
second to the last question. How about you, John?
Okay. So, here's the thing. Any advice for freshies that are losing hope in their programs, specifically IT, especially on programming? Haha, thank you in advance. That's the whole thing. So, we can start, I guess, with Sam.
Um, losing hope on their courses.
Yeah.
Grabe.
Good.
Especially, grabe. Sabi mood. Same.
True.
Just accept
I
it.
mean, to be honest, come on. Yung first half siguro, first year and second year, parang ibang angle kasi siya eh. Kasi to be honest, I think up until now, nawawalan pa din ako ng pag-asa. Pero nandun na siya sa point na more than half na ako ng college ko. So, it's too late
So
now.
going back.
Too late now. Wala na. Tapusin ko na. So, parang nag-iba lang yung perspective ko. Pero, advice for Froshi that are losing hope. I think it's very important to find people din. Kasi, the hard part about online classes back then is feeling mo ikaw lang mag-isa yung nahihirapan. When the truth is, ang dami yung nahihirapan. And kaya ang daming sobrang nalulungkot, including me, nung online class. Kasi feeling ko sobrang behind ko sa subjects, sobrang behind ko sa schoolworks, or sobrang behind ko compared to my other classmates. Pero nung nag-start yung face-to-face, doon ko na-realize na, ay shucks, lahat pala kami nahihirapan. Or ang dami ko ding nakakausap na share kami ng struggles dun sa specific homework na yun. Mahirap pala talaga siya. So, kailangan mo lang talaga i-validate na mahirap talaga yung inaaral mo. And not just because kulang ka sa utak, ganun. Mahirap talaga yung course natin, guys. Mahirap talaga yung program natin. And find a strong support system. May it be your family, may it be people inside school, org mates, or even people outside school that you can talk to.
So, very important yung support system talaga.
Yes.
And yung sinabi mo kanina, yung so basically, is parang sunk cost fallacy na parang I've already poured in this much, so might as well keep going then. And you never know. Baka kasi there are a lot of things waiting for you na hindi mo pala alam kasi you're about to give up. Pero, yun nga, just stay strong and support systems. How about you, Ricson?
Okay, so sabi niya specifically IT. Sabi niya, agree naman kay Sam na parang it's okay, it's valid to feel hopeless, especially if you're having a hard time. Kasi our degrees, our programs are actually really hard. There's a really high learning curve. But at the end of your college, everything will make sense and magubunga rin naman yung fruits of your labor. So, siguro isipin na lang sinasahod natin pag graduate. But especially on programming, kasi don't feel down if you feel like you're being left behind. So, I'm just gonna quote one of my favorite quotes before. Expert at anything was once a beginner. If you feel like failing or even let's say bumaksak ka na, it's not the end of the world. So you still have many ways or opportunities to bounce back, and it's are not the end of the world. Kahit sabi mo baksak ka, what matters in the real world are actually the skills that you've learned in college and not the grades that you've earned. So, work, like speaking from a corporate perspective, they won't ask you if you have failing grades. They won't ask you if you have if perfect 4 ka ba the entire term. Although, siya ipagiyabang, they won't ask about it. They're gonna ask how do you handle things. So, how do you handle failures? How do you learn from your mistakes? That's what really matters. Hindi mahalaga yung grades. At some aspect, it does, but it's not the end of the world kung bumaksak ka. Yun na isipin nyo. Like, okay, bumaksak ka, what will you do after failing? Ano yung gagawin mo para mag-bounce? Dapat pakababa na ako. I failed this subject na makapag-loud eh. Not being allowed is not it.
Okay, I do agree sa sinabi ni Ricson. To be honest, yung ginagawa ko pag nabagsak ako, Like, nagzo-zoom out yung pagkatao ko sa mundo. Like, nakikita ko yung, like, lalawak, tataas yung perspective ko. Tapos makikita ko yung sarili ko. Then makikita ko yung Pilipinas, yung Earth, yung galaxy. Tapos naisip, hindi pa end of the world. Like, minsan kasi masyado kang nabibig deal. Pero, it's okay naman to validate our feelings. Pero minsan, nagiging OA ako sa mga nararamdaman ko when I fail. Pero yun nga, it's not the end of the world. Ayos lang. What's important is to bounce back, move on, and, learn from your mistakes. Kahit, okay, ang cringe nun, pero lagi ko siyang sinasabi. Yeah.
Agree.
And,
So like meron siya yung like fear of failure talaga. Pero we don't really have to fear failure kasi from failure we can learn din naman. There's a lot of things we can learn from failure now we won't learn just from yung like the constant pressure of trying to be great at something, no? You don't really have to be great at everything you do. It's only natural na sometimes you'll fail. Kaya it's a very important lesson talaga, no? Not the end of the world. And lastly, last but not the least, saying nga. So let's go with Shua.
Ayun. I think just to not make my answer really long. Having a support system is really good na, as Sam said. I think one person, like one thing is I really suggest if you find a group of people or even just one person that has the same vibe or the same pacing as you, have the same work ethic as you, and then just stick with them throughout the college life. Just like they'll like be classmates with them every time, be ano with them every time. As long as you find the right person, it is a really, really big help. Because if you're failing and they're not, they can help you. If you're failing and they're if kapag baliktad naman, you can help them. If you're both failing, you can help each other. If you're both passing, you can still help each other. But yeah, other than that, I think this is more specific to the question. We need to know that programming is not the only out in CCS courses. We don't need to program when we get out of college. We can be analysts, data analysts. We can be security analysts. We can be IT. There are a lot of different outs in college. But yes, the most the stereotype out is, oh, you're going to be a programmer. Oh, make some codes, make some games, make some applications. But even applications, there's web applications, there's mobile applications. That is like going up recently in the recent years. There's like web apps. There's so many things, so many outs. And as long as you find joy in one of them, you will most probably find success then in the future.
Yeah, so that's yun yung like main benefit, no? We have a lot of avenues in terms of like yung opportunities given to us. Okay. So sorry to really cut it short, pero okay, let's go on to our next question now. If we can, let's try to keep it short. So, for our last question, so how to be a consistent Dean's Lister and study tips to attain 3.0 in all subjects. Just a lightning round.
Start.
Yep, go ahead.
Okay, so for context, hashtag not bragging, just inspiring. But yeah, out of my all of my 12 terms in college, lahat yun, first deal ako, lahat naman. Including yung subject na may 2.5 ako kanina. Siguro general tips ko would be do above bare minimum on everything. Yun on GEs. My mindset is pag GE dapat automatic 4 ako. Which I did. Lahat ng GEs ko 4. Kasi inisip ko na, GEs, siya yung hilak ng grades ko pataas. So kahit di ako 4 sa major ko, kung 4 yung GEs ko, lahat sila, same sila ng 3 units sa major. So, hila pataas. Kahit sabi mo trust lang ako sa major, 3.5, mahina pa rin pataas ng GE. So, ayun yung parang rated tips talaga na dapat. GEs, do your best. Kung di man kaya ng best, above bare minimum. So, you always base your actions based on the rubrics, on the syllabus. Kasi yung rubrics, sobrang halaga yan. Diyan naman i-base ng prof mo kung anong grade mo. If nakalagay doon, 5 points if complete yung site. citations or at least dapat 3 to 5 citations. Ganun gagawin mo. Lagyan mo ng 5 citations para pag nag-grading siya, pwede mong i-raise na, Miss, bakit perfecto? Bakit gano'n? Based on the rubrics naman, ginawa ko lahat. Parang, parang personal ko, do your best kahit sa GEs kasi siya hihila pataas. Siyempre, pagdating sa majors, ayan, same pa rin naman, follow the rubrics, follow the syllabus, pass everything on time, and so that's my personal tip on how to be consistent DL.
Okay. So, more on siya. Just do above average or like above the rubrics talaga. Okay.
And
Let's-
research. Okay, next. How about Sam?
For me, I second yung sinabi ni Ricson na sundin yung syllabus, guys. It's an easy way to know what you have to focus on. Kasi mamaya fino-focus mo yung small detail na to eh. Wala naman pala siya sa rubric, so wala din kwenta yung oras na ginastos mo. It's like, you know, same thing lang siya with managing your priorities. Kung gusto mo tumaas yung grades mo, and focus on the things that are more important dun sa rubrics. So, kung may 10 points dyan sa rubrics, dun ka mag-focus. Kung tapos mo na yun, edi pwede ka na dun sa mas, you know, mas dun sa smaller details na grades. Yun sa akin.
Okay.
Last but not the least, of you, Shua.
For me naman, in my perspective, grades it's just a number, honestly. I'm not saying that it's not important, but in relation to that nga, work smart, no need to work hard, honestly. Like I'm honestly not a consistent DL, but then I have a GPA around like 3.2, secret na kung upper or lower, but around 3.2. And then just know how to prioritize what's more important nga in the subject. So like focus on projects. Honestly, if you focus on all your projects and do fairly decent in your quizzes, you will be a second DL minimum. Like just put the effort in, focus on projects, and just do decent on your quizzes.
So just do well and the good things will come to you talaga.
Exactly, yeah.
And that about wraps it up, no? So that's been 8 questions, I think.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's a wrap. Grabe, parang kanina kakastart lang natin and now we're already finished sa Q&A portion natin. And I have to say, ang dami ko natutunan na bago just from the segment alone.
Yeah, same here. Like, probably start using some of the things na natutunan ko from today. Like, I'm sure that the freshmen listening in have also learned a few new things too.
Okay, so before we end our podcast, we'd like to ask you guys if you can share a few words to motivate and inspire the freshmen listening in.
Okay, so with that said, let's start with Sam, then Shua, then last but not the least, Ricson. Sam?
College is very, very hard, guys. But pero you know, kung fresh ka ngayon, this is the last 4 years of your academic life na hindi graduate studies, kung balak mo mag-graduate studies. And you've gone through so many quizzes, so many exams in the past. And umabot ka dito. So, I'm pretty sure kakayanin mo din to.
Thank you for those words. How about you, Shua?
Ako naman, know your priorities. You control your time. Just know your goals, how to achieve them. And have your breaks. Breaks, rest, sleep, important. Now that all of that is put aside, now you know if you have time to do orgs, if you have time to do extracurricular, to do other stuff outside of school. Just control your time and know yourself really well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And last but not the least, Ricson.
And for me naman, I agree with Sam. It will be your last at least 4 academic years in your entire life. Make sure na sulitin nyo, huwag kayo masyadong magpalubog sa hirap ng ACADS. It is indeed a very, very hard degree. But don't forget to have fun. Enjoy, just enjoy the journey. And just so you know, even if you're leaving someone else's dream, marami may gusto makapasok sa LaSalle, taking this course but yung iba hindi makapag-take kasi wala silang laptop or PC. Or actually, not necessarily someone else's dream. It can be your 10-year-old self dreaming of getting to LaSalle, dreaming of getting this degree. You're actually living your own dreams. So, ayun. Just enjoy the journey and trust the process.
Thank you very much for that. And again, thank you three for those very motivational and heartwarming messages. We are really and truly grateful that you have lent us some of your precious time to help us freshies, no?
And on behalf of our fellow Froshies, we'd love to thank all of you a lot for coming and giving us advice on dealing with college life to make it a bit easier.
Thank you, thank you. And with all of that said, once again, I am Jan Anthony Murillo.
And I'm Nathan Portez, and we've been your hosts for today's podcast. Take it from a senior.
Thank you all for listening in. The views and opinions of the host and resource persons do not represent those of the organization and the university and its stakeholders.